from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next to only, yeah, I am fresh to death.
Good morning, everyone. Full disclosure, it is Thursday, not Wednesday. So usually I will do, I did my check-in on Wednesday, but yesterday was filled with calls and Instagram stuff, YouTube stuff. Like I was just swamped kind of all day. I was at my computer most of the day, so didn't have time to sit down and record this. So today is Thursday. But wanted to make sure I go through my check-in to show y'all the progress from this last week. We're into week 4 now. We are just cruising as far as this is concerned. So 228.8 Wednesday morning. I was up at 6 a.m., which is when my kid is with me. That's when I'm getting up, and more than likely, I'm probably just going to keep that same pattern. Like I've kind of just been waking up before my alarm anyways. Usually I'm up at like 5:30 in the morning. So I guess actually it would be a good idea if I shared this with you guys. There we go. Look, Nick is figuring out technology. So shout out Brickwall because he helped me figure this out, because I told you guys last week that I wasn't able to do this. But now I can show you this live. So I'm feeling great. Weight is 228.8. I'm up at 6 o'clock this morning. I was actually awake at 5:30, but I got out of bed at like 5:50. But weighed in at 6 a.m. this week, which is the time that I need to wake up in order to get my son up and get him over to the bus pickup spot. Yesterday or Tuesday was a training day, right? So I trained on Tuesday, so I was on my training day carb amount. My training is progressing. My knees are still a little achy, but nothing insane. No off-plan eating, and surviving a week with the kid and school schedule. It's definitely a lot more to handle when he is with me for an extended period of time. Usually, like because we have a split situation, I have like half a week to myself, but not having any has been a lot of extra. But I really do love having him here. So we can see here that I was 231 last week, and this week I'm 228. So that's a 3-pound drop from the last week. I also slept in for an extra 30 minutes. I was up at 5:30 this day. So up at 6 here, out of bed and weighing in at 6 is what I should say there. So we see that like it looks like I lost almost 3 pounds here, right? But if we go over here to the daily habits and we go through this, we can start to see what the pattern is a little bit more. So this was week 1, 234 was where I was kind of averaging. I'd go up to 235.8 and then down to 233. And then I did forget the weigh in 2 days. But then 233 here, honestly, more than likely with where weight would have been here and here, this probably would have been a little bit closer to 233. So I didn't really change all that much from the first week to second with being sick. And then this was the week where things really started to kick in. And then now I dropped 3 pounds in week 3. And now halfway through week 4, I've dropped another 2 pounds, right? So that's a really good trajectory. And then if I go in here and I edit this, I can go ahead and add today's weight. No, I can't. All right, well, it'll let me edit it, but it won't let me add anything to it. But I was 228 today, so that average is going to come down even more than that. So we're on a good trajectory of 2 pounds a week. So with being 3.5 weeks into this and having 8.5 left, I want to continue to lose 2 pounds a week. So I would like to lose another 15 to 16 pounds off of this in order to be in a spot that I think is pretty lean for what it is that I'm trying to do with this. So now if I come down to pictures and look at the difference, obviously I am still hairy, and I'm also posing myself differently here today. So I'm actually standing up a little bit more in a front relaxed versus just standing straight on like I did this. I'm probably going to continue to do this because I do like what I'm able to see here. I can see into my lats. I can see all the rib cage a little bit better. It makes me kind of have a little bit better picture of what this would look like without just completely relaxing. Very slight flex to the quads. And then turn to the side. I don't have those ones listed on that side. So back. all kind of same thing. Like I'm standing fairly similarly here, so that's good, but I'm also straighter here, and hamstrings are somewhat the same, at least in that position. Then if we go into the actual poses, we can see here that like the biggest thing to me is that I'm flatter, right? So like chest is definitely flatter. The water that is kind of on my midsection here is less, right? So there's like a little bit of a reduction in the thickness of my skin. And the biggest thing, like it looks like my quads are a lot tighter here on the left side than they are here. But if we look at this shadow, right? So look at the position of that shadow here and then look at it here. The light's more directly on me here, so that's the only difference, where it does cast just enough of a shadow to show these lines a little bit more. So this is why it's really important to make sure that your lights are in the same spot. So that's something that I'm going to have to really pay attention to this next time. And this is all stuff that like I have to remember to do myself, you know? So I understand that what my clients go through with stuff. It's like sometimes you just fucking forget. It's like, oh shit, I do need to make sure that that's exactly like the last time. So we'll make sure that's done the next time. But overall, like the biggest thing to me is I just look a little bit flatter, and this was kind of moving towards flat anyways. So I'm a little bit flatter here, but body seems to be moving in a positive direction. I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my side chest. Like my side chest used to be a really good shot here, and now I hate it. So I'm going to have to keep playing around with that. I got to get back to posing that better. But overall, like it, especially like as I turn here, you can see a good difference to the, projection of my core. You can see that kind of sits out here. Now I do have a mesh that sits over my stomach from a hernia surgery back in 22. So like there is always like this kind of little ridge here up at the top of my stomach, but there's a lot less bloat here today. So we are moving in the right direction. I am losing fat for sure. At this point, still probably a little bit more glycogen and fluid than anything else, but I am definitely starting to get into that fat burn, and I can feel it. Like I can tell that I am now losing body fat and moving forward in a good direction towards what it is that I'm looking to achieve. With that last reduction, it took like multiple days for me to really feel things kick in there. So now, like I can really feel things rolling. Like I was almost kind of planning on pushing it even harder, but then over the last couple of days, I've really noticed an uptick in this. Now, a couple of things that I'm going to go through here are what I did supplementation-wise. So now I am over on my supplements tab in my program here. So a couple of things that I did this last week is testosterone went to 150. EQ stayed the same, SLU stayed the same, AOD stayed the same, and Reta went up to 2 milligrams. So because I am in control of my program and I can change it at any time, when it came time to start doing my testosterone and my Reta, I had two thoughts here. So when I was doing my testosterone actually last week on Thursday, I wanted to go ahead and bump up the testosterone because EQ has a pretty hard affinity to drop estrogen. So even with just a little bit of this in here, I started to notice that my skin was getting a little bit oily. I was getting a little bit more acne. Emotions were a little meh, like kind of very flatline, that kind of thing. So I figured that more than likely that was some indication that my estrogen was too low. So going ahead and bringing testosterone up here just to see how escalation feels, because like I said before, last time I tried to do some stuff, I ended up with some bad DHEA problems because of the stuff that I had. So I was trying to honestly figure out if the testosterone I was using was still okay or not, or if I was going to have to source something different. And I feel fine, so everything's been great. Still going to continue to keep this the same. If anything, I'm going to escalate just testosterone and just keep this the same. I'm really not looking to push anything aggressive here. This is just going to be enough to kind of make sure that I'm not losing muscle tissue, able to keep strength, able to keep recovery, that kind of thing. And I'm just going to rely on the peptides because that's the main thing that I want to really show the power of here. So still continuing 1 milligram of SLU per day. But I do need to adjust this because I am playing around with something. So AM post-fasted cardio and post-workout. So the thought process there with changing the SLU is that SLU is an exercise mimetic. It is going to tell your body hey, it's basically giving your body the signal that you are doing exercise. So with that, if I am already exercising, I'm doing cardio, or I'm training and then doing cardio after, my body already knows that I'm training. So I am already burning calories. Testing it out just to see if playing around with these things makes any big difference or not. I don't have any theory to I don't have any backing to this or evidence to this that this will actually work, but I'm curious to see it, just to kind of play around with these things and see kind of what works well. And this is kind of the idea with this stuff, is you experiment, figure out what works. So I am taking my 500 milligram or 500 microgram dose post fasted cardio and post workout, so that I kind of extend that feeling of exercising within my system while my body continues to burn through body fat. AOD, I'm going to continue to take that daily fast in the morning because of the way it works. It helps release and utilize fat in the cell. My brain didn't want to put those words together. Apparently it doesn't want to put any together, but the AOD helps release fat from the cell to be used as energy. And then Retatrutide, we've already spoken about a number of times, of it has a really good fat burning potential with the glucagon, but then it's also looking to improve my appetite and not let things get too crazy. Now, I've said this a couple of times on here, but I've definitely noticed that I'm still hungry. When it was time for me to eat here just a little bit ago at 10, I was yes, I'm ready for some food, but I wasn't that dying, I'm going to pass out, oh, I got to eat something, panicking kind of situation. I can just tell that I'm hungry. So it's working very well. So I'm very, very happy and pleased with what it is that I am seeing with these products. And I'm honestly really curious to do some labs before long to kind of see what's happening with my cholesterol and all that kind of stuff too. So other than that, I'm not making any changes this week. I'm not changing any food. I'm not changing any cardio. I'm continuing to do 40 minutes. I ended up taking a rest day today on Thursday because there was a bunch of other stuff that I needed to get knocked out. Like this, for example. And Britney is coming into town on Friday, tomorrow evening. So I talked with her, and she wants to go up to the gym on Saturday. So we're going to go up there with me and Ev and let him kind of hang out while we train and see some of our friends and so forth. So we're going to do that. So today is a rest day as well, so I can knock out some other stuff here and get some other things done besides just this fat loss phase. So that is everything here. I'm not changing anything else. I showed you the very minor change that I made with the peptides and the cycle, and then that is it. So I appreciate everyone who's been messaging me about the vlog. I hope you're enjoying it still at this point, and excited to keep this thing rolling. I'm really, really enjoying this so far. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.